So imagine you're running a gigantic company, one with all these different parts. How in the world do you figure out the right price when one part of your company is selling something to another part of your own company? It sounds simple, but it's this billion-dollar puzzle called transfer pricing. And honestly, it's one of the most fascinating challenges in business. Let's dive in and see how it works.
Okay, so picture this. You've got a factory division that makes a specific component, and you've got an assembly division that needs that exact component. Well, the factory manager, they want to sell it for a high price, right? Makes their profit and loss report look amazing. But the assembly manager, they want a super low price to keep their costs down. You've got this built-in conflict. So how do you find a price that's fair to both, but more importantly, is best for the entire company's bottom line?
And really, that's the core question we're wrestling with. What is the right price when you're selling to yourself? The answer isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It literally shapes divisional profits, it drives employee motivation, and it can even define the entire corporate strategy. It's a huge deal.
Okay, this slide lays out the classic dilemma perfectly. For the company as a whole, this is a no-brainer. Making the part inside the company for $6 is way better than buying it from an outside supplier for $9.50. Easy win. But hold on, the selling division, Division A, knows they could sell that same part on the open market for $10. They are not going to be happy just getting $6. Meanwhile, Division B isn't about to pay $10 when they have a firm $9.50 offer from someone else. See the standoff? This is exactly the kind of internal gridlock that transfer pricing is designed to solve.
And that, my friends, is where we get our official term, transfer pricing. It's the formal name for the rules and methods companies use to manage these internal transactions. But don't just think of it as accounting. Oh no, it's a seriously powerful tool for steering behavior and strategy inside a company.
So how do companies actually set these prices? They don't just pick a number out of a hat. They have a toolkit, really, with 4 main methods they can use. Let's walk through each one.
First up is variable cost. Think of this as the bare-bones rock-bottom price. It only covers the direct cost of making one more unit, the materials, the direct labor, that kind of thing. Now, this is a great option if the selling division has a bunch of idle machines and people just sitting around. The company wins because it's using resources it's already paying for anyway. But the huge problem? The selling division makes zero profit on the deal, and that's a massive demotivator. So this method is usually just a starting point for a bigger conversation.
Next up, we've got full cost. This method takes those variable costs we just talked about and then adds a slice of the fixed costs. You know, things like rent, manager salaries, factory insurance. This is definitely better for the seller because they're guaranteed to cover all their expenses. But there's a hidden danger here. If the selling division is inefficient or wasteful, it can just pass all those extra costs onto the buyer, and the problem gets buried inside the company instead of being fixed.
Now we come to what many people consider the gold standard, market price. The logic here is super simple. If the selling division is running at 100% capacity and can sell every single thing it makes to outside customers at the full market price, why on earth should it give its sibling division a discount? It shouldn't. Using the market price makes that division operate like a real, independent business. But, and this is a huge but, if that division has idle capacity, forcing an internal buyer to pay full price might just push them to buy from an outsider, leaving your own expensive machines sitting there doing nothing. Not good for the company overall.
And the last tool in the box is the one that sounds the most human, good old-fashioned negotiation. You just get the 2 division managers in a room and let them hammer out a price they can both live with. This gives you a ton of flexibility, which is awesome. The downside? Well, the manager who's the better negotiator might win the argument getting a great price for their division that isn't actually the best price for the company as a whole.
All right, theory is great, but let's see how this actually plays out with real numbers. This is where you can really feel the impact of choosing one method over another.
Okay, let's dive into a real scenario. Division X makes this thing called Product A. Now, the numbers to really focus on here are the variable costs. You add up the materials, labor, and variable overhead, and you get $11.50 per unit. We also know the market price for this thing is $40. Remember that number? Now, let's apply our pricing methods. And whoa, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at the absolutely massive difference here. The variable cost method puts the price at a measly $11.50. Full cost is a little higher at $13.50. But the market price method? It sends the price skyrocketing to $40. The method you choose completely changes the game for each division's financial results.
So if these 2 divisions were going to negotiate, this slide shows us their playing field. The seller, Division X, is not going to take a penny less than their variable cost of $11.50. That's their absolute floor. The buyer, Division Y, has no reason to pay a penny more than the market price of $40. That's their ceiling. Any negotiated price is going to land somewhere in that massive canyon between $11.50 and $40.
So it's pretty clear by now that this isn't just a math problem, right? Choosing a transfer pricing policy is a really high-level strategic decision. It's an art, and it's about so much more than just the numbers on the page.
Top management has to juggle all of these factors at once. Does the price make everyone work towards the same company-wide goal? Can we use it to fairly judge how each division is doing? Do we have spare capacity? But it's this last one, tax implications, that throws a whole new wrench in the works, especially for these massive global corporations.
And this quote just nails the international strategy part of it. A company might deliberately set a low transfer price to a division in a country with high import taxes just to reduce the tax bill. Or they might set a crazy high price to pull profits out of a country with an unstable currency. Suddenly, the right internal price is being dictated by all these complex external forces.
Okay, before we wrap this all up, there's one more clever, almost sneaky method we've got to look at. It's called dual pricing, and on the surface, it tries to make everybody happy.
So here's the magic trick. The company basically keeps two sets of books for the exact same internal deal. The selling division gets to record the sale at the high market price, which makes their manager look like a hero. And the buying division gets to record the purchase at the super low variable cost, which makes their manager look like a genius. It sounds like the perfect solution, a total win-win, right?
Well, here's the catch. When you add up the amazing inflated profits from both divisions, you get a number that's way bigger than the company's actual, real profit. You've literally created artificial profit out of thin air. It's a fantasy. And because nobody's feeling any real cost pressure, the incentive to be efficient and control costs just goes right out the window. And that's exactly why this supposed win-win is almost never used in the real world.
And all of this brings us back to a really fundamental question about management. Think about it. A division manager is judged, they're paid, they're promoted, all based on how well their division performs, but sometimes the best decision for their division is not the best decision for the company. So we're left with this. When those goals clash, where does and where should a manager's true loyalty lie? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.